there was a large-scale firefight happening near Mars. This news shocked everyone across the globe, including the Earth Federation. After realizing that there was no reaction from beyond the moon when the protective shield was broken, the Earth Federation confidently deployed a large number of detection tools. Several observation satellites and orbiting telescopes were launched into outer space from above Beyond City. After a few days of observation, the situation was finally clarified. The entire Martian orbit has a laser defense system. There's no doubt that this laser defense system was set up by the aliens from the moon. Their aim is obvious. They wanted to hide the existence of Earth. Luckily, the Galactic Federation is stronger. They discovered our existence and chose to attack after brief negotiations. The fireworks beyond the Martian orbit are the front line of their battle. As soon as this information was out, the entire internet was shocked. We must do something. We can't let the Galactic Federation lose heart. We must fight, join forces with them, and bring down the extraterrestrials from the moon. I'm willing to enlist for this fight for justice. Join the fight. Join the fight. Join the fight. The online clamor was extremely high, with most people wanting to participate in this historic event.
Chia du base.
What are your thoughts on the war between the forces beyond the moon and the Galactic Federation? After a few days of observation, the Federation's Congress members had become calmer. When they found out about the war, they were not excited, but rather appeared worried. The expert group has analyzed it. Both their spacecrafts are extremely fast. The one from the moon reached 500 Mach, and the Galactic Federation's reached 10,000 Mach. Besides that, all types of weapons they use are far beyond our imagination. Electromagnetic cannons, railguns, kinetic energy cannons, star destroyers, lasers, and so on. All these weapons can easily destroy Blue Star. And our nuclear weapons, in the universe, there is no air, thus no pressure, and therefore no shock wave. The high temperature and nuclear radiation produced by the explosion, without a medium in the universe, can only propagate in the form of radiation, which is only comparable to the weakest electromagnetic gun, interfering with electronic equipment. There are all types of radiation throughout the universe, many of which are even more terrifying than what our nuclear weapons can create. Spaceships that can withstand these radiations naturally are not afraid of the radiation released by nuclear weapons. Senator Zhou thought for a moment, then asked, "What's the maximum speed our spaceships can reach?" 20 Mach, but that's only if we sacrifice some cargo space and use them just as spaceships. If it's loaded with fuel and weapons, reaching Mach 10 is already a miracle. Colonel Chu shook his head and said, "The most crucial issue is our flight speed is too slow. Even if we want to support the Galactic Federation, it would take us 1833 days to reach the Martian frontline from Earth." He paused for a moment, then added, "There's another important issue now. If we help the Galactic Federation, the aliens from the moon are likely to divert forces to deal with us. With their power, a few shots from their star destroyers would be enough to devastate Earth, or at the very least, kill 70 to 80% of the human population."
Colonel Chu Siged.
That's why we can't send troops now. This will attract attention from beyond the moon. Our only means to help the Galactic Federation at present is through intelligence. The good news is, there's a speed limit in the universe, the speed of light. Our electromagnetic signal transmission time is the same as theirs. Sharing information about the aliens from the moon is our best option right now. It not only helps us avoid attention from those beyond the moon, but also shows our stance to the Galactic Federation. That way, even if they annihilate the aliens, they won't blame us. After hearing this, everyone present was silent for a long time. Finally, Senator Sun asked, "Do we really need to join the Galactic Federation? Can't Earth remain independent?" Colonel Chu shook his head. The technology gap is too wide. Any alien civilization can easily destroy Earth. Only by attaching ourselves to a powerful civilization can we survive right now. If the Galactic Federation can accommodate 77 civilizations, they can certainly accommodate us. We're skilled at learning from others to control them. As long as we can endure this initial period, the future of the people on Earth will surely shine brightly. All right, then let's keep a close eye on the ships and movements beyond the moon and seize opportunities to pass on information to the Galactic Federation. After 3 days of preparation, the Earth Federation finally had a somewhat complete set of intelligence. We can't see clearly because of the moon's curtain, but we have detected almost all the spaceships beyond the moon. Good. Attach these spaceship details and coordinates, along with our relationship with those beyond the moon, and send them all to the Galactic Federation. Remember, avoid detection devices beyond the moon. They absolutely must not discover us. Understood. The information sent was divided into 3 parts. The first part detailed the history, culture, origins, and technology of Earth, along with the current state of the extraterrestrial blockade and oppression on the moon. The second part detailed all the observations they could make about the spaceships of the moon's aliens and their distribution. The third part asked the Galactic Federation what they should do to help. With our intelligence, the Galactic Federation should have an easier fight. Indeed, we've told them the locations and coordinates of all the spaceships beyond the moon. They owe us a favor even if they win. Absolutely, in war, intelligence is paramount. Our intelligence could potentially decide the course of the battle. Phew, we've done all we can. Now it's up to the Galactic Federation. Moonbase. The Type 1 particle black hole thruster is completed. Which class of spaceship should we retrofit first? Shuttle ships. Uncle Da, with a serious expression, said, "The enemy has a deadly weapon, the Type 3 particle black hole collapse bomb, which we cannot defend against. If our defensive line is broken and their shuttle ships get in, we'll struggle to intercept them. Or to put it another way, our escort ships can't keep up with their speed. Prioritize the retrofitting of shuttle ships so they can be used to collide in critical times. The second priority is escort ships, the few battleships that can defend against enemy attacks. There's a clear technology gap between the two sides. Regardless of battleships, destroyers, or cruisers, even if equipped with new particle black hole thrusters, they are still limited by energy conversion technology and energy release technology, making it hard to strike effectively." Zhao Yu nodded. After discussing the retrofitting of the spaceships, he briefly asked about the situation on Earth. On the Earth side, they've only sent some detection equipment into space after blowing open the sky curtain and haven't taken further action. However, we just intercepted an electromagnetic signal from Earth. It carries a lot of intelligence information. Uncle Da projected the cosmic space around Earth. Several cloaked, disc-shaped spaceships were patrolling. Though he didn't think Earth could pose a threat, Uncle Da still dispatched many disc-shaped ships, which weren't needed on the battlefield, to monitor every movement of Earth. Is this intelligence for the Moro fleet? It was sent to the Moro fleet. Only, they seem to think that the Moro fleet is the Galactic Federation, backed by 77 civilizations? Uncle Da shook his head. The false information of the Moro fleet didn't fool us, but it seems to have fooled Earth. What is in the intelligence? The first part is an introduction about Earth, from its origin and development to its current technological level, weapons situation, and so on. They have revealed almost everything. The second part is about us. Earth has strongly described how we've been blockading and oppressing them. And they have included their guess about us? What guess? Zhao Yu asked curiously. Earth guesses that our mothership is damaged and can't leave the solar system. That's why we were forced to trade with them, aiming to promote their technology to repair our spaceship. Once our spaceship is repaired successfully, we would destroy them. They are lucky that the Galactic Federation arrived, otherwise, they would undoubtedly be doomed. Zhao Yu couldn't help but laugh. Earth people really have a wild imagination. However, he could understand. After all, his initial intention to trade with Earth was to retrieve technology points and enhance himself. But the people of Earth don't know this. To reach a reasonable conclusion, they can only guess in this direction. The third part of the intelligence is the distribution of our spaceships near the first defensive line. Uncle Da laughed. This part of the intelligence can be said to be the most useless. Whether it's us or the Moro fleet, we all have gravitational wave detectors. Within the solar system, we can detect the traces of spaceships regardless of distance and time. Zhao Yu nodded. Since getting the gravitational wave detector, he seldom looked at other types of detectors. Because other types of detection methods, no matter what, have a time-distance limitation. Unlike the gravitational wave detector, it can almost simultaneously detect the movement of enemy warships. The last part is Earth asking the Galactic Federation what they need to do, and how they can help. A thought crossed Zhao Yu's mind, and he asked, were all the signals sent by Earth intercepted?
Non.
Uncle De shook his head. Electromagnetic wave signals are close to the speed of light. It's impossible to intercept them from all angles unless a canopy is set up in advance. But the canopy we set up on Earth was broken by them. So, this intelligence can only be intercepted, not entirely blocked. Zhao Yu frowned. So, could the Moro fleet also receive it?
Yes.
If they receive this intelligence, our disguise as the Huaxia Galactic Alliance would be exposed. Zhao Yu crossed his fingers against his forehead, slightly closing his eyes, starting to think. After a while, he opened his eyes. If the Moro fleet receives this intelligence, they will certainly attack more boldly. The protective shield of Earth being broken is like taking off the underwear for all to see. The details will naturally be exposed. The Moro fleet is very likely to believe this intelligence from Earth. Commander, what do we do now? This situation has both pros and cons. The bad part is, we can no longer use the banner of the Huaxia Galactic Alliance to intimidate the Moro fleet. But now my base has been upgraded to level 2. As long as we continue to drag this out, there's still a chance. The good part is, knowing we don't have backup, the Moro fleet will think we are still at the late stage of level 1 civilization's technology. This way, they will attack carelessly, which can leave us some room for counterattack. After deep thought, Zhao Yu decided to take this opportunity to destroy a part of the alien spaceships. But how exactly to do it needs careful consideration. Report, the technological level of Earth seems to be only around 0.75. Receiving the detailed detection results, Seth was still a bit puzzled. What do they mean by breaking the protective shield themselves? A few days ago, reconnaissance ships reported that the Earth's protective shield was broken from the inside, allowing for detection. This left them utterly baffled, unable to comprehend the intentions of the people on Earth. Could it be that they're deliberately showing a technological level of only 0.75 to lure us? But it doesn't make sense. They've already revealed a technological level of around 1.8. Why would they disguise themselves like this? This was as absurd and eerie as someone introducing themselves as if it's their first meeting after months of acquaintance. Just as Seth and the others were puzzled, suddenly, someone reported, "We've received an intelligence report from Earth." Spit it out. They say they're not with the moon. The aliens on the moon have been blockading and oppressing them. They also say that the spaceship of the moon aliens is broken. They can't leave the solar system, and thus they negotiated with them, trying to stimulate their technological progress and then repair the spaceship. Not together. Everyone was stunned on the spot. It's false. It should be false. Seth frowned. The spaceship is broken, and they can't fix it themselves. So they want to boost a 0.75 level civilization to fix a spaceship that requires 2.0 level technology? That's ridiculous. Even given 10,000 years, a 0.75 level civilization wouldn't reach 2.0. Can the moon aliens live that long? Do they think we're idiots? This is definitely their conspiracy. Exactly, this is absolutely a trick they're playing, trying to confuse us. Everyone agreed that this was another trick from the Earth people. However, Moreau suddenly said, I think it might be true. The protective shield being broken from the inside doesn't make sense, and our detection shows that Earth only has a technological level of 0.75. But the spaceship we've seen has a technological level of at least 1.85, which clearly indicates that Earth is not with the moon. Seth felt a headache coming on, earnestly said, Master Moreau, you are being deceived by them. With their claimed low technological level, how could they break the protective shield? There's a laser defense system around Earth. It's been half a month since we set off, and during this time, the Moro fleet's 3 groups have been continuously attacking the Hellfire line. The released energy is enough to destroy Earth 100 million times. Even we haven't broken this laser line, let alone a mere 0.75 level civilization. So, this is definitely a distraction by Earth, trying to deceive us. That's right, it's fake. The other captains nodded, agreeing with Seth's argument. Is that so? Moreau, somewhat uncertain, asked, What's their purpose in doing all this then? It's probably an intelligence war, trying to use Earth as bait to lure us, then send false information. Seth's eyes flashed for a moment, and he turned his head to ask, apart from this, is there any other intelligence? There's also information about the distribution of the moon alien spaceships. Humph. Seth scoffed. We know very well where the ships near the Hellfire Line are. Do we need them to specifically pass it to us? Without a doubt, this is definitely their trick. Following that, Seth seemed to realize something, and he bellowed in rage. How dare they? Do they think all of us Glen people are fools? They dare to play such a low-level intelligence game. Everyone in the room was outraged, feeling insulted. After our victory, I want to capture their leader and torture him harshly to vent my anger. Seeing everyone else saying this, Moreau started to believe it too and said, since it's false, let's just ignore it.
Non.
Seth said harshly, if they want to play tricks, we will play along, pretend that we believe it, and take the opportunity to destroy them. That's right. These damn giants dare to challenge our intelligence. They're asking for humiliation. Since they want to engage in an intelligence battle, we Glen people can't back down. We'll see who can outsmart who. We've received a reply. The Galactic Federation has responded to us. Everyone in the Earth Federation was thrilled and overjoyed. Quick, see what they said. Translating now. Moments later, the translator, with an excited expression, announced, the Galactic Federation says they've noted our stance and asked us not to worry, but to first remove the laser defense system on Earth. And then wait for the right opportunity. They'll tell us when to act. No wonder it's the Galactic Federation. Even in these times, they're still considering us. Yes, if they had told us to clash with the moon aliens right now, one would have had doubts, but now it's clear. They truly are the Galactic Federation. Then let's continue to use nuclear weapons to broaden our achievements and strive to remove the laser blockade system soon. Another Earth Federation meeting was convened. During the meeting, the council members argued vehemently. We should first breach the laser blockade system above the summer capital. We are the core of the entire Eastern Hemisphere and hold a crucial strategic position. No, we should clear the laser blockade system above Guzur City. We carry the freedom of humanity. The council members debated fiercely over which location's laser defense system should be cleared next. At the round table, Colonel Chu did not join in the argument. Instead, he was turning his ballpoint pen in thought. On the side, Senator Sun, who had argued until he was hoarse, picked up his cup to drink water. Noticing Colonel Chu's silence, he hastily said, Little Chu, you should say something too. Colonel Chu glanced at him and frowned. Don't you find this matter a bit odd? What's odd? Senator Sun was taken aback and looked puzzled. Colonel Chu solemnly said, the reaction of the moon aliens is a bit too calm. There's no anger for our rebellious actions. After discovering that we wanted to use nuclear weapons to break the protective shield, they merely warned us not to harm their Xiaotian, without concerning themselves about anything else. Even the Xiaotian is so important to them. The laser defense system is obviously more valuable. Why would they ignore it? Colonel Chu suddenly remembered a long time ago. Zhao Yu said during a negotiation that he was willing to trade a laser defense system to protect Earth. Could it be? Were they really protecting Earth? Senator Sun chuckled. Aren't you overthinking? They're clearly overwhelmed by Earth and are focusing all their energy on the Mars front. If we change our perspective, assuming the laser defense system is indeed protecting Earth, our actions to break the protective shield would be seen as suicide by the moon side. As the saying goes, it's hard to convince a doomed ghost with good words. Colonel Chu was taken aback and quickly shared his speculation in a low voice. Could that really be the case? Senator Sun was somewhat hesitant. Better safe than sorry. Colonel Chu whispered, if the Galactic Federation wins, the presence or absence of a laser system isn't critical. But if the laser defense system is truly protecting us, the larger the breach, the bigger the blow we could suffer. So, what's your idea? We let them argue. We withdraw. At this moment, Senator Smith stood up and loudly announced, everyone, stop arguing. I just had the tech team analyze this. If we want to break the laser blockade system from a new location, we need at least 3,000 nuclear bombs. But our Earth currently only has 11,000 nuclear weapons left. If we strike from other places, we can only break 4 base points at most. But if we expand from the breach above Byong City, it takes only 300 nuclear bombs to break a base point, and we could break at least 30 base points. So, I think, at present, we should expand the breach as much as possible, at least to a degree that allows the Galactic Federation's spaceship to land, right? Once the Galactic Federation's spaceship arrives and lands on our Earth, would we still worry about not being able to remove the laser blockade system? As soon as he finished speaking, half of the council members stood up in agreement, clearly having consulted with Smith beforehand. Senator Sun hesitated for a moment, but ultimately did not stand up to rebut. Choosing to be cautious, he decided to trust Colonel Chu for now. Soon, the meeting concluded. The final decision was to continue attacking from above Byong City and expand the breach in the blockade. According to the plan, the remaining 11,000 nuclear bombs could break at least 30 base points. This meant that centered on Byong City, 4 or 5 surrounding cities would be free from the blockade. By calculations, our 6 fleets can completely break through the blockade of the Ming Fire Line with 1 day of intensive attack. The Vanguard fleet was less than 1 billion kilometers away from the Ming Fire Point and would arrive in 4 days. Aboard the temporary command ship, Leader Seth and the other captains were discussing the attack plan. We have 2 options. The first is to break the Ming Fire Line blockade, then proceed gradually, continuously destroying the enemy's fleets. We would set up a temporary base near the Ming Fire Point and defend it, gradually pushing forward. The second is to break the blockade at the Ming Fire Point, send in a shuttle ship to rush in, bypass all enemy ships, head straight for Earth, and detonate the particle black hole. The first plan is safer but also more time-consuming. The second plan is more aggressive, but if successful, it would achieve most of our mission. For the first plan, we might not have enough fuel and would need to set up a resource collection base on Mars. Indeed, the enemy's technology is average, but they have a lot of warships. Just near the Ming Fire Point, there are nearly 200,000 warships. Destroying them all would consume a lot of energy. Their particle black hole, though efficient in energy conversion, 20 times that of the third-generation nuclear fusion, doesn't create energy out of thin air and requires the addition of special fuel for the transformation reaction. The fuel carried by the spaceship is limited. Besides the demand for propulsion, every attack also consumes energy, which will eventually run out. In the past 20 days, the 3 fleets near Pluto have been attacking the Ming Fire Point mainly because a supply line has been set up on Pluto, which can quickly replenish energy. In contrast, their 6 fleets had to conserve fuel and had been just hurrying on their way for the past 20 days without firing a single shell. Then we'll choose the second plan. According to the simulation results, we only need to create a 20-second counterattack vacuum to allow the shuttle ship to cross the blockade. Seth pondered, this plan is indeed resource-saving, time-saving, quick, and effective. The only drawback is that it sacrifices the people on the shuttle ship. I'm not afraid to sacrifice. Leader Seth, let me go. Let me go. There's no coward on our Shuttle 9. Our Shuttle 10 is willing to go. To their surprise, the moment he finished speaking, a bunch of shuttle crews volunteered for the mission. Destroying a planet with a shuttle ship, for the crew who treat their ships as their beloved, is the greatest romance. Even if they die, it's worth it. Moreover, if they succeed, their names would echo across the galaxy and might even enter the Hall of Heroes on the mother planet. Of course, a significant reason why these crews are willing to step forward is that the simulator shows a failure rate of only 1 in 10,000, typically due to shuttle malfunction. After weighing for a moment, Seth made the decision. He said solemnly, Shuttle 10, the mission of destroying the enemy star is entrusted to you. We promise to complete the mission. The captain of Shuttle 10 saluted, resoundingly declaring, Glen people will live forever. All members of Shuttle 10, leave your nameplates. After we win the war, I will personally take them to the Hall of Heroes. Report, the Vanguard has sent the battle plan. Morrow quickly took the plan and started reviewing it. It showed that the Vanguard planned to send the shuttle ship first to head straight for Blue Star and destroy the enemy's headquarters. Input the related data of their plan into the simulator. Let's see what it shows. Soon, one after another, Simulation results appeared on the big screen. After 100 runs, all were successful. After 1,000 runs, still, all were successful. Even after 10,000 runs, all were still successful. Great. Moro was overjoyed and said with a smile, "Tell Seth to give special praise to the crew of Shuttle 10. Tell them, if they succeed, they will surely enter the Hall of Heroes." Distance is 820 million kilometers. According to calculations, we should launch the attack in 5 minutes. Right. Seth nodded. Just follow the plan. 5 minutes later, out of the 60 warships of the Vanguard, 20 started their attack on the Ming fire line. 1 day later, these 20 warships ceased fire. Supply ships approached to refill their fuel, and another 20 warships took over the attack. Half a day later, a shuttle ship left the formation and advanced ahead of the fleet at a speed much faster than normal. The first defense line, 5th base. Li Zongheng, with one hand plugged into the control room interface, was constantly calculating various data. When he noticed that an enemy shuttle ship had left the formation, he frowned slightly and quickly started to simulate the situation. 1,000 times simulated, there's one scenario that could create a 20-second defensive vacuum. 20 seconds. For regular warships it's not enough, but for a shuttle ship, there is indeed a chance they could breach. This must be the enemy's battle plan. As this was of utmost importance, Li Zongheng did not dare to decide on his own. He sent all the simulation data back. 8 minutes later, the lunar base received the intelligence. Uncle De hurriedly reported the situation. So, their plan is to create an opportunity for the shuttle to infiltrate first, then directly blow up Earth? That's right. Zhao Yu slightly nodded and continued. Simulate using a spaceship equipped with a Hall thruster to see if we can intercept the shuttle mid-route. Okay. Uncle De quickly began his calculations. Moments later, he shook his head. It's very difficult. We would need at least 120,000 escort ships in position in advance to have any chance of success. Is there any way to destroy this shuttle without revealing that we are equipped with a particle black hole thruster? Commander, are you suggesting? Zhao Yu nodded. One want to take advantage of the fact that the enemy doesn't know we have a particle black hole thruster yet to achieve more results. Just a shuttle ship is not worth it? If that's the case, Uncle De started to calculate again, simulating without exposing the particle black hole thruster. Half an hour later, Uncle De exclaimed with surprise, "One found a way." Zhao Yu immediately perked up, eager to hear the details. Our biggest concern about exposure is the enemy's gravity wave detector, which can detect across any distance in the solar system. But the gravity wave detector has one drawback. It can only detect large mass bodies when their gravity overshadows that of smaller bodies. Between Blue Star and Mars, there is a not-so-small comet. We can force the enemy's shuttle to the vicinity of this comet and then collide our shuttle with it. Zhao Yu interrupted. Would the enemy still approach if they knew our warship was on the comet? We have numerous ships traveling to the 5th base every day. We could slightly adjust their routes. Just drop off the shuttle during the 1-second window of gravitational wave contact fusion as the transport ship passes by the comet. In this way, we won't expose our shuttle's particle black hole thruster, and they can also find a reason for the destruction of their shuttle afterward. As Uncle De was talking, he opened the star chart and started to simulate blocking and intercepting the enemy's shuttle. Tens of thousands of escort ships, acting as frontline support, conveniently reacted one by one just when the enemy's shuttle arrived. So everything looked like a coincidence, but it could force the shuttle near the comet. After carefully reviewing the simulation, Zhao Yu found no loopholes. It seemed like the enemy's shuttle arrived near the comet either unintentionally or by choice. Good. Let's proceed as you suggested. Start the deployment now. As he spoke, he paused briefly. Also, prepare a backup plan, just in case we fail to intercept the shuttle near the comet. We must ensure that the shuttle never reaches here. The moon was too close to Earth. With the speed of the shuttle, it could traverse the distance in 57 seconds. If the enemy decided not to attack Earth, but targeted the moon first, it would spell disaster. Energy point 177 has run out of energy. 100 escort ships are replacing it. Energy point 192 has run out of energy. 100 escort ships are replacing it. On the Vanguard fleet, Seth was glued to the screen, not daring to relax for a moment. A 20-second counterattack vacuum period seemed simple, but it required meticulous planning. Every step had to be perfect to ensure the safe passage of Shuttle 10. The first batch of fleets stopped for rotation, prepared to increase attack power. Seth's command seemed vague, but in reality, the detailed tasks had been assigned ahead of time. Every battleship knew exactly what they needed to do and when. Everyone was on edge, operating their tasks meticulously. Shuttle 10 is 10 million kilometers from the Pluto line. 8 million kilometers. 6 million kilometers. On the screen, Shuttle 10 dodged relentlessly under countless laser attacks, like a salmon swimming upstream. Its evasive maneuvers were pre-planned, taking advantage of the second's gap when energy points ran out and escort ships were replacing them to find safe spaces. At Base 5 of the first line of defense, Li Zhongheng was planning to adjust the sequence of the escort ship's replacement when he suddenly received a secret order from the moon base. After carefully reviewing it, he abandoned his adjustment plan and continued the attack as before. At the same time, he put his other hand into the control panel. Moments later, he calculated a position to force the enemy's shuttle to retreat. We can't puncture their shuttle here. If they detonate a particle black hole collapse bomb, the entire defensive line will be compromised. We need to make it leave narrowly to avoid arousing suspicion. According to the original data, their Base 5 indeed had no way to hit the enemy's shuttle. However, not long ago, the moon base sent him a batch of new escort ships and shuttles equipped with particle black hole propellers, which could easily intercept the shuttle. The commander doesn't want to reveal our ships have particle black hole propellers so soon. It seems he wants to use this opportunity to eliminate as many enemy battleships as possible. Thinking along these lines, Li Zhongheng started to contemplate ways to lure the enemy further in, ideally trapping all 60 Vanguard battleships. After pondering for a moment without finding a feasible plan, he decided not to overthink it and focused on the task at hand. On the screen, the enemy's Shuttle 10 had broken through to a position 1 million kilometers outside the defense line. At the same time, all kinds of attacks from the enemy's battleships were fully activated, drastically increasing the energy consumption of the energy point lasers. Li Zhongheng nodded slightly. He understood that the enemy's plan was officially underway. Now, it was a matter of whose plan would succeed. Pluto Mothership. Morrow and a few team leaders stood next to the gravity detector, their eyes glued anxiously to the screen. The charge has begun. On the screen, Shuttle 10 moved like a fish with Parkinson's, left, then right, up, then down, shaking nonstop. But the expressions of those present were extremely serious, the atmosphere tense. We must succeed, someone murmured. On the screen, no energy attacks could be seen. Even though laser beams have mass, they are too small and too far away to be detected by the gravity wave. But based on the shuttle's movements, one could infer how critical the situation was. It's almost there. On the screen, the curve representing Shuttle 10 was nearing the Pluto line. The closer it got to the Pluto line, the harder it was to dodge, especially within a range of 300,000 kilometers. It required preemptive evasion, and it couldn't repeat its path, or it would easily be hit. It's hit. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Everyone's eyes widened in alarm. Indeed, the shuttle seemed to pause momentarily during its flight, but then quickly resumed its movement. Thank goodness for the energy shield, but it can't withstand many hits. At the shuttle's highest speed, the power of the energy shield would drop. Faced with this kind of laser beam attack, it could only withstand a maximum of 5 hits. Damn it, what the hell is Seth's team doing? They need to support us now. Someone cursed nervously. Look at the Pluto line. Just then, someone else, who had been watching the defense base points near the Pluto line, cried out. Everyone turned to look. An important base point near the Pluto line exploded, followed quickly by a second, then a third. In just 1 second, more than 30 base points had been breached. Well done. Morrow clenched his fist, visibly exhilarated. Next, we'll drain their laser defense ships. The screen zoomed in, revealing more than 1,000 battleships filling in the space behind the Pluto line. Taking advantage of this gap, Shuttle 10 surged forward 100,000 kilometers in an instant. It was now less than 100,000 kilometers away from reaching the Pluto line, a distance that could be covered in just 16 seconds at the shuttle's current speed. Everyone's eyes were glued to the screen, staring intently at the 1,000-plus battleships, trying to deduce the state of the battle from their damage. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. For a full 5 seconds, all the battleships remained intact, causing a lump to form in everyone's throat. Finally, at the 6th second, the image representing a battleship's gravitational wave detection became unstable, turning into a mess of chaotic lines. It's exploded. Everyone cheered happily. The appearance of such lines meant that the battleship was no longer whole. This was not an isolated case. With the arrival of the 7th second, the curves representing the battleships on the screen started to blossom at multiple points. The number of battleships still maintaining their mass sharply declined. By the 10th second, the screen only showed 100 or so battleships with intact curves. Beautiful! Everyone was overjoyed, eager to see the remaining ships completely obliterated. Unexpectedly, even when Shuttle 10 reached the Pluto line, over 100 battleships still stood intact. This should be when the kinetic cannons hit, right? Even though they couldn't see the actual situation, everyone had an imagined scenario in their minds. In a universe filled with the chaos of war, billions of kinetic cannon bullets were pouring towards the remaining 100 battleships. Moro's gaze darted between the position of the shuttle and the state of the 100 or so laser defense ships. Finally, at the 16th second, Shuttle 10 reached the Pluto line, instantly passing through a gap in the defense line. Not far from him, over 100 battleships stood like statues, unmoving. It made it through. Just as Moro and the others were cheering, about half of the 100-plus battleships turned around, seemingly launching an attack in pursuit of Shuttle 10. On the screen, Shuttle 10 was seen darting up and down, dodging left and right. Even though everyone couldn't see the bullets, at this moment, they could visualize the scene of countless attacks being launched. Just 10 more seconds, and we'll have succeeded. These passing 10 seconds were the most dangerous. The distance was the closest, making it the hardest to dodge. Hit again. A sharp-eyed captain noticed that Shuttle 10 paused for a split second while evading. Only 3 more chances. No sooner had he finished speaking than Shuttle 10 paused again. People stopped talking, their full attention on the screen. It exploded. Suddenly, someone cheered. On the screen, the curves of a dozen or so out of 100 battleships crumbled, turning into chaotic tangles. But the next second, everyone's worry returned. In the image, the remaining few dozen battleships all turned around, facing the direction Shuttle 10 was escaping. They seemed to have received some command to attack the invader with all their might. Thump, thump. 2 heart-stopping moments in quick succession. Unconsciously, Moro crushed the model in his hand. One more hit, and Shuttle 10's energy shield would shatter. At this moment, the dire consequences of those few dozen battleships focusing only on attacking Shuttle 10 became evident. Pop, pop, pop. No one knew who was making sound effects, but on the screen, the curves of the remaining few dozen battleships exploded almost simultaneously. We won. Cheers filled the room. Joy filled Moro's face, but as a captain, he did not relax at this moment. He quickly instructed to further enlarge the image. Battleships from neighboring bases began to divert to provide support as soon as they realized what was happening. But they were too slow and too far away to intercept Shuttle 10. Are you sure they can't catch up? No problem. Once we're past the Pluto line, they can't stop our shuttle. On the screen, within a few seconds, Shuttle 10 had already traveled more than 300,000 kilometers away from the Pluto line. At this distance, it would be extremely difficult for laser attacks to hit the agile shuttle. However, Shuttle 10 did not relax its vigilance. It continued to shimmy, each step charting a new course to avoid incoming laser attacks. Another 30 seconds passed. Shuttle 10 was getting further and further away. The ships still trying to chase it from the first defensive line were left far behind, and the distance was increasing over time. Only then did Moro finally let out a sigh of relief. We did it. Overjoyed, Moro laughed heartily. Let everyone know that to celebrate Shuttle 10's victory, the entertainment room is free today. Everyone can go and enjoy themselves. The faces of everyone in the room lit up at this. The entertainment room, built after the capture of Voyager 1, offered music, movies, and games. I want to watch that black and white silent film. It's so interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, it's March 16th, 2029, Summer City time. We have some great news. The spaceship from the United Federation of the Universe has broken through the alien blockade on the moon. According to our scanners, the United Federation spaceship is heading towards our Earth. They heard our call for help and are coming to our aid. The news broke, and cheers erupted worldwide. People dressed in festive colors took to the streets, singing and dancing, welcoming the arrival of the Federation spaceship. To celebrate the breakthrough by the United Federation spaceship, all games under Chochio are offering a recharge bonus. Whatever you recharge, you get the same amount for free. To wish the United Federation a swift victory, Familet is offering car purchase discounts. Buy any Familet car model and get a $10,000 voucher. Major businesses seize this opportunity to launch significant promotional deals. The Earth Federation also stepped up to the plate. Shadow City announced that there would be no restrictions on fireworks for 7 days throughout the region. People could freely light firecrackers and fireworks. Overseas, the celebration was even wilder, launching 88 rockets in celebration. Whoosh! A rocket burst through the clouds, releasing colorful fireworks. Looking at the bustling scene outside the window, Colonel Chu's brows furrowed tightly. Is the United Federation truly here to save the Earth? Ever since the message from the Universe Federation of the Universe arrived, the Earth Federation seemed bewitched, taking sides with the Universe Federation overwhelmingly. Everyone believed that aligning with the Universe Federation that held 77 great civilizations would promise a brighter future than the unknown moon aliens. Nobody seemed willing to probe whether the Universe Federation truly exists, or whether they genuinely respect all original civilizations and treat them equally as they claim. Something feels off. Colonel Chu could understand the jubilation and extremism of the Earth Federation. The stress came from the moon, a power that could destroy the Earth at any time. Facing powerful aliens, there was little the Earth could do. Their remaining sanity was marked by a fear of death. No one could predict whether the Earth would be destroyed tomorrow or the day after. The moon aliens were like a deity hanging over their heads, until the Universe Federation appeared, offering a counterbalance to this god. Even if this new god might be more terrifying than the old one, under the tyranny of the old god, people placed their hopes in the new god, especially since it expressed plenty of goodwill. After some thought, Colonel Chu stood up, summoning several other members for an impromptu meeting. Chu, why so serious on this day of celebration? Senator Sun had neatly combed his hair, looking quite spirited. Colonel Chu glanced at the smiling faces around him. He shook his head and asked, "Are you certain that the Universe Federation is here to save the Earth? What if their arrival accelerates the destruction of the Earth?" The smiles faded. Everyone exchanged glances. Senator Zhou stepped forward and sighed, "I know what you're thinking. We know extreme adoration isn't good, but can it get any worse?" He wore a bitter expression. The moon aliens possess the power to end the world, and we're like ants, trying carefully to figure out their intentions. Up to this point, we still don't know what they truly look like or even their appearance. Senator Sun also stepped forward and said solemnly, "If the Universe Federation's message is genuine, then we can still maintain certain human rights. If it's false, we are merely changing the name of the god hanging over our heads." Councilman Zhou nodded. The damage to the moon aliens' mothership is just our speculation, deduced from their behavior. But who really knows the actual situation? Maybe they're keeping us for other unknown reasons that only we possess, such as our souls? Colonel Chu fell silent. He thought he was the only sober one among drunks, but it turned out everyone was just trying to drown their sorrows in alcohol. After a while, he raised his head. The outcome isn't determined yet. The Universe Federation has only broken through with one spaceship. Betting too early is risky. We can't reverse what we've done these past few days, but we should take some remedial actions. What actions? An action that can save part of the Earth's population if the Universe Federation is defeated. Senator Zhou frowned and instinctively looked at the sky, murmuring, "You mean, make them take the fall?" "No, just hedging our bets. Didn't the clans and families in ancient chaotic times always leave a way out, especially when we represent the entire Earth? He pointed to the Three Kingdoms era when everyone knew Zhuge Liang served as Liu Bei's advisor and the prime minister of Shu, but not many knew that his brother Zhuge Jin had joined East Wu early on, becoming Sun Quan's general. This way, no matter who ultimately won, the Zhuge family could maintain their nobility and lineage. How do we maneuver with such an ugly situation? There's always a way. Overseas backs the United Federation, and our great summer backs the moon aliens. This is a gamble with the lives of all our people in the Xiadu. Some sacrifices are necessary to keep the fire of the earth alive. The underground city plan wasn't mentioned again. Given the aliens' demonstrated power, if they wanted to find it, hiding underground wouldn't save anyone. Senator Sun hesitated. Why should our great summer back the moon? Why not another region? Intuition. Colonel Chu shook his head. I just feel the moon aliens are more mysterious. The Mars defense line, as we know, didn't exist before the Earth was sealed off. In less than 3 months, they've established such a massive defense line. And according to our detection, there are 12 large military bases and over 200,000 warships inside the line. These were clearly built in just these few months. The moon side's ability to rapidly militarize is terrifying to the point of causing fear. The members discussed quietly and finally accepted Colonel Chu's suggestion. In that case, you'll be in charge of this matter. Yes, next, we need to slightly control the public opinion of the Xiadu and try to maintain a low profile in major events. Didn't Smith propose appointing a chairman for the Earth Federation to communicate with the Universe Federation? If he wants to take the lead, let him. Colonel Chu nodded and asked, how much resources have we accumulated? 1.5 billion blue moon coins worth of resources. What are you planning? We can't back the moon side empty-handed. Nanyuan News Express. A fire broke out in Bin Park early this morning. There are no casualties yet. After investigation, it was caused by people setting off fireworks. Haicheng Morning News. A fire broke out in Nanshan Park, resulting in 3 people injured and more than 10 cars damaged. After investigation, the fire was caused by fireworks. The people of Great Xia woke up and clicked on the trending news, intending to check the status of the Universe Federation spaceship that had broken through. To their surprise, 8 out of the top 10 stories were about fires caused by fireworks in various places. When one went to sleep, everything was fine. But when I woke up, one found that my car was burnt down to its shell. Last night, someone in our community was setting off fireworks and accidentally shot them into someone else's window, causing a fire, which hasn't been reported yet. Netizens were quick to comment, expressing that people should pay attention to fire prevention during celebrations, so as not to cause casualties. Just when everyone thought it was over, Great Xia soon issued another announcement. Last night, within the entire region, 1,533 fires were caused by fireworks, causing more than 300 people to be injured, over 30,000 cars to be damaged, resulting in economic losses exceeding 3 billion. After discussions by an expert panel, it was decided to reinstate the restrictions on setting off fireworks. When the news came out, netizens were dumbfounded. Isn't it unnecessary to cancel it? Isn't this the celebration of the Universe Federation spaceship's breakthrough? Do we even have a choice in cancellation? Darn it, if one had known. One would have set off the firecrackers one just bought yesterday. Me too. One bought them but only managed to let off a few small ones before the ban. If it's canceled, then so be it. Let's celebrate in another way. Exactly. Why not just give us tax breaks to celebrate? Just as people were guessing what alternative methods would be used for celebration, the internet was disconnected. A large area in Great Xia lost internet connection, and mobile phones lost their signals again. Not again. Is there another electromagnetic wave disturbance? Will we have to go through a Walking Dead month again? Netizens rushed home, turned on their TVs, and tried to figure out what was going on. Due to the star war near Mars, Earth's electromagnetic waves are disturbed. We estimate at least 3 days of wireless network signal loss. Please don't worry. So that's why. Damn, the Star Wars are closer to us than I thought. 3 days is okay. At least it's not a month. People breathed a sigh of relief. feeling that they could tolerate 3 days without internet. The only downside was that they could not use their mobile phones to keep up to date with the situation of the Universal Federation spaceship. On this day, many people who were at home due to holiday leave from their companies stayed in front of the TV, constantly switching channels, trying to find news on the Star War. But surprisingly, none of the hundreds of channels mentioned anything related to the Star War. The emergence of robot workers has, to a certain extent, promoted social development, liberated people's hands, and benefited mankind. There's nothing wrong with technology itself. The original intention of developing technology was to make life better for humans. Demonizing robots and magnetic levitation buses is not only ignorant but also anti-intellectual. Magnetic levitation buses are innocent. Robot workers are innocent. They have no thoughts, no standpoints, they are just tools. Venting anger on a tool is a sign of impotent rage. At first, netizens were furious, feeling that these experts were implying something. However, after listening carefully to several channels featuring similar sentiments, they felt that there might be some truth in these comments. This led to a gradual shift in their thinking. Indeed, robots are innocent. I've been out of work for 3 months, living off the salary my robot earns. Now that my robot has been smashed, how can one continue this way? Darn, one just received a message from my insurance company saying that my robot has been smashed and it's not covered by the insurance. Who the hell smashed my robot? Why didn't they smash their own? This is insane. I used to commute to work in an hour by magnetic levitation bus. Now I have to squeeze onto a 6-hour train with everyone else and even consider renting a new place. Upon reflection, people realized that the destruction of tech products was indeed irrational and self-destructive, especially when interest-free loans were still hanging over them and needed to be repaid every month. I heard that all the products of Blue Moon Tech Company, including the production line, were funded by us. The money has already been given to the moon base. So, the products we smashed were our own? Yes, Blue Moon Tech Company's products are paid for before delivery. All the products left on Earth were already paid for. Darn it, if one had known, I wouldn't have smashed anything. I even took a robot's butt home. Can the robot be fixed if one returned the butt? The guy above, one just got a message that my robot is missing a butt. So it was you. Most netizens, after losing wireless network access on their phones, could only receive information through TV. However, a few who were engaged in international trade found out, to their surprise, that the internet outage only affected Dacia. Overseas, people were still having a blast. Wait, so the electromagnetic interference from the Star War only affected Dacia? No signal, please try again later. Today's events are too strange. What on earth is happening? Has Dacia been taken over by aliens on the moon? No signal, please try again later. Moonbase. Zhao was monitoring Moro Fleet's number 10 shuttlecraft. According to calculations, the enemy would reach the target comet in about 45 minutes. Suddenly, Uncle De reported, "Commander, we have received a message from Earth." What does it say? They observed that we lost quite a few spaceships while resisting the enemy. They offered to provide us with resources unconditionally. Resources for us? Zhao was taken aback and a bit surprised. Just yesterday, Earth was celebrating the Moro Fleet's spaceship breakthrough, and now they want to send us resources? Yes, and quite a large amount. Worth about 1.5 billion lunar dollars, enough for us to produce thousands of escort ships. Uncle De added, "Commander, the message was sent by Councilman Chu. He mentioned that this act only represents Great Xia and not the Earth Federation." What does that mean? Scratching his head, Zhao Yu shook it and said, "I don't have time to worry about that now, whether it's a scheme or a trick. The important thing now is that shuttlecraft. Let's focus on the task at hand. Who can stop me?" Ha 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 ha. On shuttle number 10, the crew was laughing wildly. In just 1 hour, they had broken through dozens of blockades, enduring billions of attacks. Report, within a 1,000,000-kilometer radius, there are still over 3,000 warships trying to form a blockade. Where is the safe gap? X6614Y3577Z43290T6OS. On the screen, a dotted line representing a simulated trajectory appeared. It connected the current position with the coordinates expected in 30 seconds. In the universe, warships commonly used their resident galaxy as a reference, setting the XYZ axis to represent 3 dimensions, with the time axis as an aid for navigation. Let's head in this direction. Quickly, the shuttle turned, and in just a minute, it crossed the blockade line again. Haha, awesome. I've never been so carefree in my life. In the first 2 Star Wars, they either won by pushing the enemy slowly with their slightly superior technology, or dominated completely. In those battles, their shuttle was auxiliary, unlike this time where it has become the main force. Although they would die if the Earth explodes, the idea of blowing up a planet, burying billions of beings with them, was simply thrilling. The target has entered the predetermined trajectory. At the moon base, Zhao Yu was still nervously watching the screen, tracking shuttle number 10's position. Uncle Da, on the other hand, was quite confident, smiling. Our interception positions are all pre-calculated. Even their optimal retreat route has been computed. In this kind of Star War, the data was complicated and far beyond what the human brain could handle. Most of it relied on computers. Thus, it was easy to calculate the trajectory. After all, the computer would definitely give the optimal route. Won't they discover us? Zhao Yu was still worried. They won't. Uncle Da confidently said, our intercepting ships in various places are flying on another set of trajectories before entering the mission. Neither the time, the direction, nor the speed have any flaws. This was like a constantly changing password based on a time axis, 3-dimensional coordinates, and ship speed. It was hard to spot any pattern. Because before these passwords were combined, there was no pattern to follow. Even if they found a pattern, it would be useless. The real exposure risk was when multiple codes were linked together, revealing a route to a comet. But who could know the endpoint of shuttle number 10 was a comet before it arrived? All people could see was shuttle number 10 continuously breaking through blockades and racing towards the Earth. Zhao Yu didn't speak anymore, his eyes never leaving the screen. Every time the shuttle passed through a designated node, he would look at Uncle Da to confirm his composure. Only then would he feel slightly relieved. Commander, don't worry too much. The trap I designed is based on the base's supercomputer. Uncle Da bragged. The enemy fleet's flagship is nothing compared to our supercomputer. Even if their computing tech is 100 times, or even 1,000 times ours, they still won't find anything. Zhao Yu nodded slightly, his face relaxed a bit. This was indeed an advantage for the defending side. Computers could be infinitely expanded, and their computing power far exceeded that of the attacking side. Another 5 minutes passed. Shuttle number 10 was just 1 node away from the comet. Zhao Yu became nervous again, while Uncle Da seemed quite relaxed. On the screen, shuttle number 10's location and the simulated route of the key nodes were all marked. If the path of shuttle number 10 coincides with the simulated route, it means that their plan has succeeded. Time was ticking away, and Zhao Yu couldn't help but sweat. 3, 2, 1. The moment the screen countdown ended, shuttle number 10 crossed the key node. After a momentary jump, it indeed coincided with the virtual ship displayed on the simulated route. We did it. A smile appeared on Zhao Yu's face as he turned to look at another gravitational wave detector. According to the image display, half of the gravitational wave curve of shuttle number 10 had disappeared, and the other half had fused with the comet's gravitational wave, blending together like a shadow. Enemy attack. Chaos erupted aboard Shuttle 10. Not far in front of them, a seemingly harmless comet suddenly launched another shuttle. Warning, collision in 3 seconds. Dodge it, quickly dodge. Warning, collision in 2 seconds. The captain of Shuttle 10 pressed several buttons in succession, but there was no response. He understood. The computer couldn't calculate an evasion path. They were moving too fast. At this moment, there was no alternative but a collision. Damn, why is there a shuttle here? And how can it be so fast? The crew hadn't anticipated that the enemy would ambush them from the comet, or that they would exceed their predicted speed. After all, they had maintained a safe distance from the comet, a distance that should have been enough to react to the fastest possible enemy attack. Warning, collision in 1 second. In the final second, a hint of regret flashed across the face of Shuttle 10's captain. After all, we couldn't blow up a planet. As he finished speaking, he looked at the approaching warship like a beam of light rushing straight at them, and smashed the glass, pressing a blood-red button. Boom! In an instant, a particle singularity collapse bomb was activated. Just as the other shuttle was about to collide, space-time collapsed, and a minuscule black hole suddenly appeared. Without making a sound, Shuttle 10 vanished into it in the blink of an eye. The oncoming shuttle, at this moment, seemed to have hit the pause button, frozen in place. The next second, it too disappeared into the black hole. Buzz! A strong suction force spread out, drawing all surrounding matter into it. Not far away, a 55-kilometer-wide comet was frozen in time, and then, like a liquid water globe, it spiraled into the black hole. Within 100,000 kilometers, everything was plunged into absolute darkness, with all matter, including light, unable to escape. Just as this black hole was about to continue expanding, the force maintaining its shape seemed exhausted. With a pop, it disappeared in an instant, as if it had never existed. Although the miniature black hole had vanished, its effects remained. Layers of invisible gravitational waves, like ocean waves, rolled outwards. 450,000 kilometers away, over 100 escort ships were speeding along when suddenly, an invisible force swept over them. The entire universe seemed to have a filter applied to it, stretching and flattening the 100-plus warships. Their hulls were whipped up and down, slithering like snakes. Before the third wave of gravitational waves could hit, the ships couldn't withstand the strain and shattered instantaneously into pieces of metallic debris. In the blink of an eye, over 100 warships, as hard as absolute zero ice, were completely destroyed, reduced to fragments. Before exploding, Shuttle 10 activated a particle black hole bomb, which not only swallowed itself, but also the shuttle that was about to hit it, the comet, and the 100-plus escort ships that were hundreds of thousands of kilometers away.